Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live. Professor Griff is here in studio with us. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Alex Jones. We're in overdrive on this Tuesday worldwide edition, and I'm going to try to pull him over to the nightly news tonight as well, and I'm going to try to get some of the crew backstage to talk to some of the people that he's on tour with as well to get his take on it all. But Professor Griff, I heard you wanted to ask me questions today.
Yeah, when your people contacted me, I said, let's do something different. Let me ask a few questions, tapping into the hearts and minds of the people that are in the street and just some things that they might want to know. So I just wrote down about 4 or 5 questions. I'm going to shoot them at you, and let's see what happens.
Absolutely. Professor Griff, again, one of the founders of Public Enemy, hip-hop rap sensation for decades now, touring the country all over the place, but also very politically aware and spiritually aware and involved. Frequent guest or off and on guest via the phone. It's great to have you here in person.
Oh, thank you.
It was great to shake your hand over there during the short break. What is your take as an Army veteran? What is your take on this whole New World Order? What is your take on Snowden and now announcements that Russian troops are going to help control the American people? I mean, we're entering the Twilight Zone.
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, you know, I've had this information for quite some time, and putting this information out on in popular entertainment and popular culture, putting it on an album and mentioning it on a CD and talking about it in different interviews, it comes as a shock to some people to talk about how the roads and bridges and ports are owned by foreign governments. A lot of times people just don't.
They're not even allowed to be owned by America under globalism. And it's the same thing when the globalists own their stuff.
Right, so when you pull up documents like this and you show the people and you read it and you show them the information, they're kind of blown away. And you don't want to say, I told you so. So we're at that stage of the game now in popular entertainment and popular culture where we actually put it in a song and let them know that this is what's going on, whether you like it or not. Study it or be a victim of it.
It's like $21 billion to ship General Motors to China. And it doesn't even help the Chinese people.
Right.
They're building robots to replace them. It's madness.
Right, exactly. So these particular these jobs and the American people suffer at the hands of people that never cared about them in the first place.
All right, well, listen, you've got the floor then if you've got to ask Alex. But first off, tell us about the websites, your site, Public Enemy site, and some of the great shows you've got coming up. If it wasn't my wife's birthday and we didn't already have something planned 2 months ago with family, I would be coming to that. I know some of the crew's begging to go. You've got quite a lineup.
Oh, yeah. We're on the Kings of the Mic tour with LL Cool J, Ice Cube. Now, these are 2 movie stars now. And every chance we get, we try to pull them backstage and pull them to the side and say, do you know that some of these things are going on? And they take to it, but, you know, they're strictly about the music and about the
Do they have any idea how much good they could do if we got them going for liberty?
Ice Cube is the one. I pulled them aside, him and his manager, and they want me to submit a script for a movie that I put together.
Oh, awesome.
And, yeah, I definitely like to see what your
Professor Griff, always waking people up.
I'm trying to get in the best way I know how. But I like to sit with put a think tank together. Let's think about some of the things that we need to kind of implement, and hopefully Ice Cube could help us get it on the big and the small screen. He's in the position, might as well take advantage of it. He's willing.
Well, that's the thing. You know, it's funny. You said all this stuff about rappers and stuff that I thought was pretty scary. And then it all started coming out in the news right after you said it about how it's a weird sex cult and Illuminati. And now they're all bragging that's what they're in.
Yeah, I think now they're trying to make it, well, you say it so much it becomes less important. They're
acclimating. They're just throwing it out there.
It's a fad. Everybody needs to do this. Yeah, right. No, it's still dangerous and people are still losing their lives and losing their minds and ultimately losing their souls.
I don't know why they're into this. Reportedly, Lady Gaga, it's been confirmed by multiple friends and managers. Someone has to sleep in the room with her, and she's tortured by demons and thinks she's followed around by ghosts. Well, yeah, you're telling little girls to worship the devil. Bad stuff's going to happen to you.
Exactly. Beyonce has this alter ego she calls, it's her, this entity that lives inside of her. She calls Sasha Fierce. Lady Gaga mentioned the fact that there's a young 13-year-old white gay individual lives inside of her, which is called Roman. So they're admitting these things. These things are out there. People are just not taking it serious. This is actual demon possession. And they're going through rituals in front of millions of people in front of our
Tony Blair admitted that he falls to the ground every morning and is possessed by the angel of light. This is mainstream news. And he said, yeah, what's the big deal? And flops around on the ground. The devil's called the angel of light. I mean, you can't make this up.
No, definitely can't, man. Definitely can't make this up. But these are the things that need to be brought out to let the people know that this is actual fact and this is real.
How can you, I mean, I know you're not around it a lot, but how can you be around some of this stuff?
Well, you know, my thing is touch and go. I'm in.
I guess you're waking them up.
And that's probably one of the main issues why they got a hands off Professor Griff campaign, which they're going to have a campaign because I'm going to get in their chest regardless. I'm going to be in their face. You understand what I'm saying? So they're going to have to deal with it regardless.
Yeah, you're a really hard soldier for the truth out there.
Exactly. I have to be. So,
well, it's all coming out. I mean, it's coming out, but a lot of them, some of them are still, lip service and then naysayers. But in a minute, they're not going to be able to deny it. But I read about how unhappy all these devil worshippers are, whether they're white or black or whatever. It is like, reportedly, it gets bad right away. I mean, it's like they're not even happy doing this. I mean,
no, they're not. But they're hiding behind the wealth. They're hiding behind the fact that they can take a private plane to Saint-Tropez somewhere and party for a weekend and, drink their troubles away. But you got to come right back to the same reality. Right back to the same reality. And the music industry is not getting any better. It's spilling over into the entertainment aspect with the movie stars, the television stars, and it's spilling over into sports. The National Baseball League, they've now confirmed, people didn't believe it when we first put it out, they've now responded and said, we were just joking, but we do believe in witchcraft. They put witchcraft, hardcore stuff up on during the baseball game. Did you see that video? No, I didn't see it. But I know some of the athletes, can't mention their name just yet, but a lot of them have came out and seeking help. How do they deal with this kind of thing? Because they're being asked to be a part of this commercial, this television show, this movie, this cult, in order to enhance their careers. And this is very real.
You know what's happening? I got you in here. I'm going to have to get you on the nightly news. Ask your questions, my friend.
Well, one of my first questions is, can you comment on the revelations about the U.S. domestic spying, and how does that affect the average person on the street?
But I want to ask you that.
No, but I think the people in the street want to know from you that Professor Griff is asking this question for them.
Absolutely.
The average cat with an iPhone with some of his songs on it, he doesn't think it affects him.
This is why it affects you. People say, well, I'm not a spy, I'm not a terrorist, why do I care? No, they're there to make sure the terrorists can attack. They run Al-Qaeda. They run the extremist groups to get Islam killing each other. That's all on record. They want to know what you believe and what you think to use that intel to be able to package propaganda to effectively control you. It's the same reason people say, I have nothing to hide, I'll put where I live and what I own on Facebook. Then thieves use that to rob you. Well, think about the globalists as the big thieves in the sky.
Right.
Google, the all-seeing eye. Frodo hadn't done anything wrong, but why did he not want to be seen by Sauron? Because Sauron wanted to kill him. In fact, your privacy is to protect you. Because if you don't have privacy, you don't have freedom. So they're using the NSA to spy on everybody, to know your mind, to build a database on you. And they can also break into your computer and plant stuff on you. That's another reason the back doors are bad.
Right. The average person that uses Facebook, how would their information be used against them in the future?
It's given to the FBI to create digital face print scans. So face scanning cameras can track everywhere you go. And then Facebook, to prove that you, quote, it's your Facebook, will say, are these your friends from high school?
Right.
Did you ever ask how it knows a photo is you with your friends from high school?
Right.
It's comparing a face scan with you and your friends to make you interface with it, to give it human intelligence.
Right.
The computer is using you. Facebook is really an NSA computer, this has come out, that is trying to become artificially aware. And it's using humans to train it. So it's a war game.
Brain fingerprinting, is this true, false?
Absolutely, that's what it is.
So if you committed a crime, they can plug you up to this machine and go into your brain to figure out whether or not you committed this crime?
Well, they can also show you subliminals. Everyone is subliminally being programmed with brain fingerprinting to then have false arrests in the future. Then they have false pre-crime where they claim the machine it knows you're going to commit a crime, but really it's not true. But they'll bust some real people with it to legitimize its use.
Right. Will America account for and admit domestic drone killings?
Yes, they admit the program, but then doubly say it isn't real and you're a kook if you cover it, as Robert Gibbs said. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
He said, yeah, it exists, but I'm supposed to tell you it doesn't. Then he laughs at you, which is all part, again, thrown in your face.
Will we ever have a list of people that they've targeted? Will we ever have a list of the organizations that they targeted?
It turns out any group against the New World Order, mainly libertarian groups, but again, when Obama's in, he targets the right wing, so the left wing gets behind it. When a Republican gets in, they target the left wing, so Republicans get behind it, and then everybody basically accepts it.
So when we talk about targeting, in the wake of the IRS scandal, is the government using the non-government agencies such as the IRS to target American groups that are not primarily for or against?
This is called classical authoritarianism.
Now, you have to explain that to me.
Well, it's just that's what every corrupt regime uses, the tax police, to selectively target and harass people. We've always known they've done this to people that get out of line. We know they've done it to entertainers and people that don't toe the line. People get told, watch out, you're going to get audited. And now they're kind of admitting and all to scare people and to create a chilling effect. It's really a coming out. Like Snowden isn't a double agent. He means well. I've analyzed it. This is my opinion. But of all the whistleblowers, they chose him because he ran so they can make it look like it's traitorous. And then they can use going after him as a way to scare everybody.
Oh, that's interesting. 2 more questions. Has the agenda of the elitist oligarchy of evil changed their plan for what, from what you have observed in the Bilderberger meeting? Based on the information that you've seen and heard in reference to the Bilderberger's meeting, has the plan changed?
Oh, there's a general mega plan that's at least as old as 1850 by the eugenicists from England. I mean, this is on record. To find out how the body works, to create a scientific way to control people, to set up a worldwide grid of control, and then kill the majority of the world population. That's been their plan for 160 years. They're only now getting within grasp of it, but their plan is still way behind. And so they're in a race against free humanity. They believe to become gods, and they don't want to give this power to what they see as the profane people who aren't ruthless like them. So there's a race by humanity to decide the future destiny. And yeah, they're always fine-tuning the plan, but it's the same ancient plan. And then when you read back to Egypt or Babylon or Greece, some of the more ancient cultures, the oldest cultures, this was all being debated then. There was the same camps then. People that wanted to give knowledge to the people and bring humanity forward, or the priests that wanted to use it to dominate and control so that they could they believe become gods.
Oh, okay. This is a question I didn't have written down. I wanted to ask you just face to face. I know you're not a rapper per se, but you think we might be able to kind of construct an album to get this out for the people that can't necessarily read? It was a very heartfelt phone call I received from a guy. He said he's purchased my 3 books, and he just want to show support.
By the way, we sell all 3 of your great books at InfoWarsStore.com. You bet.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
It's very deep. People don't want low-level, lightweight stuff. They don't. Then your books are what they need because they're definitely heavyweight stuff, very deep, a lot of great perspective. Because I've studied history a lot myself, and I even learned some things reading your book. So we can always learn more. I believe that's what they're scared of. I know they're scared of entertainment and music having a positive message. That's why I've talked to high-level people that worked at MTV and a top rock star who were there in the meetings when they said, we're getting rid of all this music that has a political thing for liberty. We're going to bring in nothing but just thug, kill, death, party, evil rock and roll, evil rap, everything. So obviously that's the answer. And it's for people to consume the alternative stuff that in many cases is better and not the devil worship stuff. So do you think we can, as Karis once said, edutainment, marry the education component to the entertainment component? I'm talking about Griff and Alex Jones. Sure, absolutely. Let's make it happen. I mean, maybe I come up with some ideas for lyrics, but probably not very good. But let's just make it happen. No, but if you do, I mean, you're doing political stuff. It's just that I think it's important. I'm sure you've heard that Paris song he put out like a decade ago about 9/11. Yes. And I think of that song, it's like a history lesson in 3 minutes. I think something like that's kind of the model. There's been groups that have came before that have done this thing. Of course, like Karis One, Brand Nubians, Poor Righteous Teachers, and there's groups that's been out there that's been putting the message in the songs, but for some strange reason, they want to make it very cutesy, popular, popish, and play down its importance. No, I think it should be hardcore like you do and like others do. Because that's what people need, the truth. And people say, oh, don't scare us. We need to be scared. Fear is there to get you moving.
Right.
Because people, I mean, you can't just put this under the rug. You have to admit that it's only going to get worse if we lay down.
Right. We've been on stage with Rage Against the Machine probably twice in our career. And we sit around and we talk. We just say, you know, something, they probably don't want Public Enemy and a Rage Against the Machine kind of collaboration. Because both of these groups are high-packed, high energy, and reach the masses of the people. Do you think we'll see these collaborations in the future? Politicized?
Absolutely. I mean, the reason I like your music is that it's not about left or right. It's about common sense, waking up, and not being a slave. If you take Rage Against the Machine, incredible music. I'm a fan of the way it sounds. And I've interviewed some people involved. They're good guys. Like they're more socialist, but they'll criticize Obama when the rest of the left won't when he does something bad. My whole thing is I realize socialism has been created as kind of a fake escape valve because then it collectivizes things yet again. But that would be an incredible mix, I think, of Public Enemy and Rage. I mean, I think that would be a great collaboration.
Right. It's very critical that you talk about this simply because during the inauguration celebration, Lupe Fiasco, I'm not sure if you're familiar with his work.
Yes.
Got pulled off the stage by the Secret Service because he wasn't doing an anti-Barack Obama song, just basically talking about the government and how corrupt the government is. And Secret Service shut him down and pulled him off stage. What happened to him after that, we're not sure.
We should call him. We should try to get a hold of him and find out. My crew should, or if you got the contacts, we'd love to talk to him. We sent Dan Badandi to the press conferences with the drill they were having in the photos from the Boston bombing, and they had Secret Service come over and get in his face and threaten him. And it's on video. You see all these big shaved head guys come over, and Dan, to his credit, didn't back down. And then they told the media, you don't talk to him on TV, and the media didn't. That's how enslaved they are, that they follow these orders. And the Secret Service is becoming the Praetorian Guard. And now look at Obama, the war crimes in Syria, the war crimes in Libya, invading 8 different African countries the last 6 months, putting troops now in Gaza. U.S. troops have now been put in Gaza. It's not even on our news. It's in the back of Reuters. And again, only Obama could get away with this. I mean, people will lay down to anything now. It's like KRS-One said in Obama Deception, America was on the edge of revolution under Bush. They put Obama in, everybody just sat down.
Yes, everybody got quiet, passive, and laid down.
This is weird, though. You're asking me questions. We're going to come back with Professor Griff. Fire out your website real quick.
www.pgriff.info and www.publicenemy.com.
Sure, and I bet the show's already sold out tonight. We'll be right back.
Already sold out.
Because there's a war on for your mind. That has been our motto here at Infowars for my 18 years of battle against the globalist. And now we see the open announcements of global, private, corporate tyranny over our governments. That's what the New World Order is an unaccountable private combine of organized crime engaged in corporate takeovers of nation states and the conscious attempt to abolish basic rights and fundamental liberties. Infowars.com is not just leading the charge against this here in the U.S. or North America. We are leading the charge worldwide. And that's because our listeners, our viewers, our supporters, fellow freedom lovers like you across the planet resonate with our message of liberty and telling it like it is. And that's why for the last 2 years especially, I have thrown everything I've got, my time, my energy, our backup capital, everything into really trying to awaken the sleeping giant that is humanity. And that's why the July issue that just came in a few days ago is so important. We've already sold about half the stock we have of it at cost in groups of 10 up to 100 in bulk. It covers the entire NSA spy grid, how it ties in worldwide, how it's not about stopping terrorists, but about suppressing and dominating and controlling the free press and political opposition. And in this magazine, we don't just have 3 free bumper stickers like I did a few months ago. We have 10 bumper stickers, 4 full-size ones with amazing messages guaranteed to get people thinking like America has been occupied by globalist forces. Infowars.com. Listen to Alex Jones at Infowars.com. Infowars.com. Forbidden information. Listen to Alex Jones. Infowars.com. And then on top of it, 6 medium-sized bumper stickers with the message as well. These are key to post in legal and lawful areas on your book bag, your computer, your car, or to give friends and family. I have printed 500,000 of these bumper stickers. Only half of this month's run of magazines has them. So when you purchase them in bulk or you're a 12-month subscriber, you will get the special issue. And I can't afford to do this every month, so it's going to be quite a while until we do this again. Please take advantage of this. Buy them in bulk and give them to your friends and family and encourage them to get these bumper stickers out, because with 500,000 stickers, we can reach tens of millions of people with the message of truth. They want to collectivize us. They want to bankrupt us. They want to drive us into their arms to control us. They want to dumb us down. But the sleeping giant that is free humanity is awakening. So I want to thank you all for your support. I want to encourage everybody to go to InfowarsStore.com and to get a 12-month subscription or to give a gift subscription. Imagine 12 of these coming to your friends or family's door to wake them up. Or to give a gift subscription to the local police department or your local congressman or woman. This is how we're going to affect change, voting with our dollars and voting with our time. Again, visit InfowarsStore.com today to subscribe, to get the magazine in bulk, or to give a gift subscription, or to give yourself a subscription to wake up friends and family. I am all in. I am committed 110% to not mince words and to not back off and to boldly confront the globalist. And our listeners and supporters, our info warriors, who aren't behind us, they're right beside us. So I want to thank all of you that have supported us in the past, and I want to encourage all of you out there who may be on the fence, that know this information is true, but have been scared to take action. You had better be scared of not taking action and letting this monstrous system come to fruition. Now is the time to commit. Now is the time to say which side of history you're on. Now is the time to stand against the globalist and the New World Order. And regardless of whether you get this July issue, this July 4th Resistance to Tyrants issue, spread the word about liberty, resist corruption in your area. Millions of us doing little things can move mountains together. I'm Alex Jones signing off for Infowars.com and the Infowars team. All right, folks, Professor Griff is here in person. And I tell you, you're very nice, fresh off playing last night or on a bus from Dallas, coming into Austin to run over here and do this interview. I really appreciate it.
Oh, give thanks. I really appreciate that, man.
Tell us about your books. We sell all 3 of them.
My first book is out of print. The 3 that I got to you guys, Analytics, it was just 20 years of conversation and interviews. A lot of times, you know, to get a book like that to the average cat in the street, they're not reading that. You understand what I'm saying? I put it in an interview form, like I'm talking to you now, and it's very, 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 very easy to read, so to speak. My second book, The Psychological Covert War on Hip-Hop, which I have with me right here, The Illuminati's Takeover of Hip-Hop.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
And, yeah, talk about the culture bandits and kind of going into it. The last book I put out is The Acapella Revolution. Letting these young cats know, like Lupe Fiasco, that, you know, you can do the research. Here's how to do it. The research is out there to be done. Here's some of the subjects. Here's some of my formulas that I've used in Public Enemy to do the research.
Well, I mean, take Muse. I know for a fact that Bellamy's a listener. I've talked to him off air before, talked to him on air. His management, you know, of Muse came to him and said, shut up. Don't do this anymore. And even got him to backtrack on some of what he said so he could be more successful.
Right.
I mean, they try to keep people literally on a very short leash. And why? Why should you politically have to do what they say?
Well, you know, silence is really no excuse. And a lot of times when you're quiet, you know, that's no guarantee that you're going to be more successful. There's a lot of artists that we can mention that were speaking out, very vocal, ended up being quiet and disappearing. One way or the other.
That's right. In fact, that's what Jim Garrison said from the Kennedy thing. He said, if you're public, you better stay public. If they tell you, shut up, that's when they come kill you.
Exactly, because you take yourself out of the public's view and the public's eye, and people wonder what happened to you, and they think you just kind of fell off and stopped making music. No, they injected you with something and put something in your food or whatever else, and now you have to be quiet.
That's right. They either kill you or brain damage you like Ronald Reagan.
Exactly, and we don't think it happens. It happens all the time. You see, young black men think it's a a white people I spy thing that you see on TV and the movie. They don't think this stuff really happens to real people in everyday real life. And it does.
Well, they should know the drugs being brought into their neighborhoods came in on an Army C-130.
See, but when we explain these things, they don't, in most cases, they don't care where it's coming from. When you explain to them that, look, several years ago, there wasn't an influx of this type of drug. A minute ago, black people didn't pop pills and do all this kind of stuff. Now it's readily available. And to most cases, to rappers, entertainers, and sports players. Mae Brussels did an article, and she talked about the CIA during the Monterey Pop Festival and some of these festivals during the counterculture during the 60s. The CIA was the ones bringing the drugs in and offering for free.
And that's all been declassified, and then Gary Webb writes about it, and they blow his head off. Exactly. What do you think about Michael Hastings' car blowing up?
Now, that was very critical because I remember, what is the gentleman that wrote There Is a River? Walter Rodney, I believe. And he died in the same kind of way. And I say to myself, okay, well, man, that was a terrible accident. But now that I have knowledge of myself and knowledge of what's going on.
What about Malcolm X's grandson? That's clearly a hit.
Now, that was very critical, but that was very interesting because there was 3 or 4 stories that was being circulated at the same time. And, you know, that's a tactic that they use now. They confuse you at the outstart.
Now you can watch Alex Jones live at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
You can also browse the network, the Infowars Nightly News,
and over 60 movies and documentaries all together in one place.
You can watch the Alex Jones radio show live as it happened.
So check it out, Infowars.com/show.